Hello and welcome to another video, and I wanted to make this video the last couple of days because with everything going on between the whole games journalism versus YouTubers, I guess, thing, which is essentially what Gamergate 2.0 is, something very, very stupid was said that was also very eye-opening that's bothered me for the last couple of days since it's been brought to my attention, and I wanted to talk about it in a video because I think that the specific thing that was said here like perfectly encapsulates why Gamergate 2.0 is even a thing. Now, I've purposely not really made many videos about Gamergate 2.0. I've kind of dipped my toe in here and there. I'm obviously, 100% caught up on it. And, well, obviously I do side with, for the most part, I have a side that I pick. I will admit, like, there are times where it's like, well, the other side, has a point too. So, but for the most part, I have, a side that I've picked on this. And again, I will also put out there as far as the whole, like, the level that it's become at now with the whole, like, everybody's doxing each other is fucking atrocious. Don't ever dox somebody. I don't support that on either side. And I don't think that should be happening, but I'm also not surprised that that's the level this stupid thing has even gotten to. But anyways, let's go ahead and dive into the topic of this video today. And I want to read this tweet because I think, again, it perfectly encapsulates why Gamergate 2 even exists. Okay, so this was tweeted out from a Cecilia D. Anastasio. If I pronounced your name wrong, I'm really sorry. I'm never good. If you ever listen to the podcast, I've never been good at pronouncing names. But this is somebody that's in the games industry. He obviously has an affiliation with Kotaku, which, most everybody in the games industry that's not in games journalism recognizes that Kotaku is a terrible fucking waste of existence. And I'd love to see it end too. But let's go ahead and just get to the tweet at hand here because, again, I think it perfectly just captures everything about this, okay? This is what this person said at one point when somebody else was recently let go from Kotaku. This was a response to that. The strong games press is especially important as the lines blur between gaming and social media / big tech. There are so fucking many stories to write. These senseless layoffs are especially painful as reactionary YouTubers with no journalism training eat away at journalism's mind share. I want to read that last part again right here one more time because I think that is the key. These senseless layoffs are especially painful as reactionary YouTubers with no journalism training eat away at journalism's mind share. Let's talk about this. Let's have a discussion about this tweet because I absolutely agree to the extent that, yeah, that's a thing that's happening right now. And there's a big reason. This person hits the nail on the head. There is a big reason why there are layoffs in the games industry when it comes to games journalism. That's a totally valid statement to make. The reason why is that the people that are in games journalism, most of them have failed what that actual job entails. That job entails covering video games, talking about video games, writing reviews about video games. Maybe it's an opinion piece about a video game. Maybe it's writing a guide about a video game or previewing an upcoming video game. Do you know the one thing I said across every single thing I just said there? The word video game. And that's the problem here. Most of these people would rather just use the platform for their activist beliefs. And we've talked about this before, but games journalism, especially in the past 5 years, has basically become a activist platform. They are journalism majors, right? But they're using the platform to push their own political agenda and their own propaganda that most people don't care about. When I go to a games website, I want to read about video games. I don't want to read about gender politics or identity politics or, are you voting for Biden or Trump? I don't fucking care about that when I go to a video game website. I want to read about, hey, is the next Call of Duty going to be a good game or is it going to be a bad game? I don't know. That's why I'm looking for an opinion. I'm not looking for all of that other shit that has nothing to do with video games. And yet these people constantly continue to shove and force it down the public's throat every fucking chance they get. So when you get a tweet like this, I think it's perfect because they're finally starting to realize their jobs. I don't want to say that anybody should lose their job, but when you're not doing your job correctly, you're not going to keep that job. You're going to be laid off. That's why there's consolidation across the board right now. IGN just bought up a shit ton of other publications this last week. And what happens after a giant buyout? Consolidation. They find redundancies and they get rid of them, which is why you saw a lot of layoffs this week in the games journalism field, because there are redundancies there. And the problem is this pool of video game journalism is only going to continue to shrink. Do you want to know the real secret why YouTubers are taking over this space? It's because you as a games journalist have failed the number one fundamental element of what your job entails, and that is to cover video games. Instead, you're so caught up with spreading your message or whatever other bullshit that we don't fucking care about, and you continue to do it. And you continue to do it time and time again. And then when it comes to the point where consolidation happens and people start losing their jobs, and these people then cry about it because, oh, woe is me, these layoffs are happening. Yes, and this industry that you're in is only going to continue to shrink because, if I'm being honest, that job is a redundancy now. It doesn't take 4 years of school and a piece of paper to tell somebody they're a journalist anymore. A YouTuber can go and do a 10 times better job reviewing a fucking video game than any of these journalists can. And I know that sounds like a direct attack on games journalists, and there are good games journalists in the field. I don't want to say that this is every journalist out there in the video game field. It's not, but it is a vast majority of them. And it's only gotten worse and worse in the previous past few years. Since COVID, it's only gotten worse and worse. And it's only going to continue to get worse. You have websites like Kotaku who have existed in kind of its own bubble forever. Like, my argument with Kotaku is that they always were garbage. They always pushed agendas. It's never not been that way. And they've always been kind of looked as a joke website. In my opinion, like, among my group of friends and among, the people that I hang out that play video games, I don't know any of them that ever went to Kotaku for a legitimate news source. Even though I will say it, the one and only time that there has been somebody who has come out of Kotaku that I think encapsulates what a games journalist should be is Jason Schreier, who now works for Bloomberg because he got a legitimate journalism job. And he does a great job at what he does. I don't agree with his opinions on everything, but he does his fucking job and he does it really well. Whereas the rest of the people that ever work for Kotaku, it's just a joke, and it's only gotten worse and worse as time has gone on. Kotaku is going to end soon. It's not going to be around in 5 years. It won't be. It's going to be all YouTubers. IGN is something that probably will still exist because IGN is huge. And I do think that there will be more buyouts. I wouldn't be surprised if IGN buys more websites. I would not be surprised if at some point Kotaku is bought out by somebody like IGN. And let me tell you, some of the people that work at Kotaku would not last a week under management at IGN, because some of these articles that are pushed through Kotaku would never fly under leadership at IGN. They would look at it, laugh, and go, "We can't post this. Are you for real?" So, and I think there's going to be a huge reality check when it comes time when Kotaku is sold or shut down or whatever it happens. It's not going to be a slow thing. It's going to be a quick thing. You're going to wake up one day and it's over. That's what's going to happen. And it's going to be like, wow, it's actually over. There will be people that celebrate and shoot fireworks in the air because most gamers want to see Kotaku gone because it's a trash website that doesn't add anything relevant or good to video games at all. But I digress. And the other thing I want to point out here, and the other thing I want to say is, for me personally, grew up and listened to my favorite, outlets. Early growing up, I was a big Game Informer fan when I was a child. I was a huge fan of One Up in the early 2000s. I thought that was a fantastic publication. The first podcasts I listened to were the One Up Yours podcast, and that's where I learned of Giant Bomb, which Giant Bomb and the Bombcast was and probably will be my favorite podcast of all time. And I listened to that podcast weekly from 2008 until 2021. I started to taper off when Brad, Vinny, and Alex left. And it just wasn't the same Giant Bomb anymore. Like, Jeff was still there, but you could tell it was different. The other people that were brought in, there was kind of this year of interim where it was like, it's okay, but the new people aren't really clicking with the older people. And then obviously we know Jeff Gerstmann left in 2022. He started his own thing, and it probably, if there's any games journalist or figure in games media that I have nothing but utmost respect for, it is Jeff Gerstmann. And I think even him out just doing his own thing is fucking phenomenal. And I'm glad that guy is he's still found success after leaving basically his own company. Even though I know he sold his company at some point, he had to leave the thing that he built, which is insane to me. And it was insane at the time. And I say all this because that was a podcast I loved and I trusted because it had a simple formula. They all had their own opinions, but it never boiled down to politics or any of this bullshit that we have to sift through today. And that is the main reason why I started Podcast 572 with my two friends that we do every 2 weeks. And not to use this as a commercial for it, but that's the whole reason that part of Marvel Gallery now exists, is because I really missed having that podcast. And I thought to myself, I can take the basic format, which is, talk about what you've been playing, talk about the news, give your opinions on it, read emails. And we've had, pretty good success. Now we're doing a video. You can watch it, every 2 weeks here right on the Marvel Gallery channel. We're having a blast with it. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's not a plug or a commercial for it. I'm just pointing out that, like, the whole reason that exists, the whole reason I built that and started that with my two friends is because out of a passion for missing that thing that I don't have anymore. Yes, I know the Bombcast still exists. It's basically a shell of its former self, in my opinion. It isn't what it was. And that's why I decided, well, if I can't have that anymore, maybe I can go create my own version of it. And so we've had a blast we've been doing the podcast now since, October of 2021. But I'd say we really didn't pick up steam with it until probably March, April of 2022. But it's been consistent. We're up to what I think the next week we record will be at episode 62. We've had 3 video versions of it now, which has, obviously had its own share of problems and frustrations from a technical standpoint for me that I've had to sift through, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's one of the most fun things that I do, and it's reignited my love for making videos on YouTube. So, but I say all this to point out the reason why, when you look at a statement like this person's statement, these senseless layoffs are especially painful as reactionary YouTubers with no journalism training eat away at journalism's mindshare. Basically discrediting anybody that can sit down and put themselves in front of a camera and talk about video games. Because let's be fair, that's all it takes. It doesn't take a 4-year degree to be able to speak predominantly about your experiences with a video game. It doesn't, at all. It's just a fun thing. And I know for some of these people, it's turned into a career. I don't use it as a career. And I've said that before, and I've said that many, many times in the past. I'm not turning this into a career for me. I'm not interested in that. I have a day job. I love my day job. I'm not interested in ever giving that up to do YouTube full time. I couldn't handle the stress of it. No shade thrown at the people that do it full time. I mean, that's great for you. And I'm sure it gives you also a lot of free time and downtime with family and stuff. And I think that's great, but I just couldn't do that. I couldn't put that pressure upon myself. or my girlfriend or anything like that. If I was like, well, I'm just going to do this YouTube thing full time, it's just not something that I could choose to do, but I respect the people that do. But this lady right here, she's trying to take it away. And when you read something like that, it's just, you see what I saw somebody refer to it as a moment where the masks are starting to slip on the games journalists and they're starting to show their activist side. That's been the entirety of Gamergate 2.0. Like, let's be fair. The masks have fallen off when this whole thing started. All by somebody creating a curator list just to point out a specific company that does DEI for video games. And that was it. That list doesn't even tell you, should you play this game or should you not? It literally just tells you, hey, this company worked on this game. Now, on the flip side of that, I do understand and I do realize that the person that created that will come out and say, like, I don't recommend the game because of that. But the actual list itself exists just to tell you what they worked on. But it also makes you wonder, that same company, Sweet Baby Incorporated, they've worked on some games that have been huge fucking failures. Forspoken, it shut down a studio. Dan, of Podcast 572 is playing it right now. You can go watch the videos on my channel of his reactions to playing that game. It's fucking terrible. It is a terrible video game. So you can understand why the studio was shut down. It lost a lot of money. Most recently, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, which was littered with Sweet Baby Incorporated's footprint, lost Warner Brothers $200 million. I don't think Rocksteady's going to exist by the end of this year because I don't think they can financially recover from such a loss like that. And you have to look at it, you have to wonder, are gamers voting with their wallet? They certainly are. And that's why I say I think the real end of this is going to be when we keep getting these high profile failures. We got 2 more coming this year that I predict are high profile failures. We got that Star Wars game Outlaws, which is going to be a failure for multiple reasons, not just because it has some of the Sweet Baby stuff involved in it, but also just for the fact that it's coming off of the heels of present day Star Wars, which people don't, like myself, don't really care about present day Star Wars anymore. There's no hype for the game because there's no hype for Star Wars anymore. Like, are people excited about the Acolyte? I don't see anybody talking positively about it. So I can't imagine this game is going to do very well. The other high profile failure I think we're going to get this year, it will do better than Outlaw, but it still, I think, will not be able to pull in the numbers that they want, is Assassin's Creed Shadow, because that game also is littered with this. It has the whole controversy around its main character, which I don't want to even get into, but I'm just pointing out the fact that people are pissed about that. And I think you're going to see another 2 examples of high profile releases. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars are being put into these 2 games. And you're going to see these games fail. If this continues to happen and gamers continue to vote with their wallets, you are going to see these companies dump all of this stuff so fast and so hard, because at the end of the day, they don't care about agenda politics. They don't care about identity politics. They don't care about any of that. All they care about is making money. And if this stuff isn't making them money, they're not going to continue it. So if that's truly what's happening, then I say more power to everybody out there. Continue to not buy these games. And that's what's going to happen. It will fix AAA video gaming. There's still going to be other problems, there's still going to be monetization. There's still going to be, higher price video games. There's going to be, even if you put aside the things with those 2 games, which are Ubisoft titles, and I want to point that out, there's still the predatory practices in that game, like locking an entire mission behind a $109 version of the game, or by going into their subscription service, which I think is like $18 a month, but you get the $109 version of that game. which is ridiculous because we're at this point where everybody's trying to push, much like the movie business and TV business, everybody's trying to push somebody to a subscription. It's gotten so out of control. The other day I went to go get my car washed, not where I presently live, but in the town where my parents live, because I was going to visit them. And as I went to go get the car wash, I literally was greeted by an employee where you're picking out like what kind of car wash you want for the car, asking if I wanted to sign up for their subscription service for a car wash. And I laughed out loud because I'm like, we've gotten to the point where there are subscription services for fucking car washes. So that's a topic for an entire different video, but that shit's getting out of control. Anyways, I want to cut it off here. I'm curious to know what you guys think about this tweet, the idea that, games journalism, it's dying, and this is further proof that it's dying. I'd love to know in the comments below. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Be civil in the comments, and I will see you next time.